Hey there, Four States. This is Luke Taylor, and welcome to another edition of the Author's Corner here on KNEO 91.7 FM. And I'm filling in for Roberta Foster today on the program, but I'm really thankful to be here. We're going to be speaking with Olivier Melnick, and he has written a new book called Antisemitism in the End Times, How the Rise of the World's Oldest Hatred is Paving the Way for Messiah's Return. And Olivier Melnick, he is a graduate of Dallas Theological Seminary. He's the founder and executive director of Shalom in Messiah Ministries. He's the son of Holocaust survivors from France, and he's an international speaker and authority on the topic of anti-Semitism. Has also written some other books, and we're excited to be talking about this new one here today. And so, Olivier, thank you for being with us on KNEO.
Oh, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about this book today. And so the first word in the title there, anti-Semitism in the end times. Maybe we should start by just defining that for everybody. What is anti-Semitism?
Good question. Definitions are very important. My definition of anti-Semitism, another good way to define anti-Semitism is just by the word Jew hatred. But a lot of people today, in the news, they hear the word anti-Semitism, just about any show, anytime, anywhere. It's such a hot topic. So my definition, that I've been working on this definition for 25 years now, current definition is anti-Semitism is the irrational and demonic hatred of Israel and the Jewish people, characterized by thoughts, words, and or deeds against them. It's the irrational and demonic hatred of Israel and the Jewish people, characterized by thoughts, words, and deeds against them. And the key, the important part of the definition, I think, has become the two words at the beginning, irrational and demonic. If you do not understand that anti-Semitism, the hatred of the Jewish people and of Israel, is a demonic, a satanic attack on the Jewish people and on Israel, if you don't understand the spiritual component, it's going to be hard to understand the whole thing, and it's going to be hard to fight it. And it's also very irrational, and only Satan can make the irrational sound and look rational. So that's a definition. That's a good place to start. But we have to understand that at the end of the day, this is a creation of Satan, who wants to get rid of the Jews and get rid of Israel, so that he can thwart God's program, and he can make God into a liar by forcing God not to accomplish his program in the end times.
Yeah, I think that's a really good definition, because that's one thing that's just always kind of struck me as weird, is the irrationality of it. It seems like the Jewish people are often blamed for all the problems in the world, and yet they're a very tiny segment of the world population. So that right there, it just makes it's always seemed weird to me. Just even if I look at it totally from a secular, non-spiritual point of view, it just seems weird that there's so much hatred that, as you said, it's irrational.
Very much so. It's only when you look at it, at the Jewish people, you see people. Some people call it the red-green axis. The Islam and liberals, Marxists, but only in against the Jews do you see left, ultra-left liberals hold hands with radical Muslims,
right,
who have absolutely zero in common ideologically. Everything they believe in is two opposites of one spectrum. And yet, when it comes to going against Israel and promoting the false narrative of freeing Palestine and all those nonsense phrases that we hear nowadays, they come together and they hold hands. And you're my enemy, but you know what? We have a greater enemy. It's Israel. So, radical leftist and radical Muslim will hold hands against the Jews.
Yeah.
Which is very irrational.
Well, right. And then, so that's probably where also the spiritual side of it comes in, where, all these different groups, whether it's those pushing for like the LGBT stuff or those pushing it, maybe on the Muslim side who are very anti-Jewish, but what unites them all is this hatred of the Jewish people. And that's where you see Satan is behind all these different groups, and that's why he's bringing them all together in that hatred.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, if anyone just tuned in, it's Antisemitism in the End Times, a new book here from Olivier Melnick, and we'll find out at the end of the program where you can get a hold of it and also find out all the details on the release of this book. But Antisemitism in the End Times is the name of the book. And so one thing that I saw interesting here is you say that Judaism and Jewishness, that those are not synonymous. And so can you talk a little bit about that as we're defining terms?
So those two terms are also very important to understand because they cause a lot of division and a lot of misunderstanding, both in the Christian community and in the Jewish community. I've been working one way or the other. I've been in ministry, in Jewish ministry since 1990. So 35 years of Jewish ministry trying to reach my people because I'm Jewish with the gospel of Jesus, and those two terms, Jewishness and Judaism, have caused a lot of problems and divisions. Jewishness is a state of being, is an ethnic state. I was born in France of Jewish mother, Jewish father, so blood and flesh from my parents. I'm their child. I'm born a Jew, ethnically speaking. I'm Jewish. There's nothing I can do to un-Jew myself. I was born a Jew. That's my Jewishness. It's the Jewish state. Now, Judaism is something you practice. You could start today practicing Judaism, keeping kosher, going to synagogue, not working on the Sabbath, and so on and so forth, and then putting yourself under the Mosaic law, and you would be practicing Judaism, but that would not make you a Jew ethnically. And why it's important is because when I became a believer in Jesus 42 years ago, I did not have a blood transfusion. The blood of Jesus washed away my sins, and I'm forgiven, yes, but I did not have a blood transfusion. I'm still the same person who was born a Jew. I will die a Jew, but I'm a Jew who believes in Jesus. That's important to define those two separately, because then the biggest beef I have with my people, the Jewish people, is that they tell me all the time, well, you believe in Jesus now, so you're not a Jew anymore. Well, I said, no, I don't agree. Ethnically, I'm a Jew, but my belief system is focusing on the teachings of Jesus, not the Mosaic law and the teaching of the rabbis.
Right.
So one is an ethnic state, the other one is a belief system.
Got it. Yeah, no, that makes total sense there too. Something else I was just thinking about too. So there was that horrible event on October 7th of 2023, and it was over 1,000 people in Israel were killed, and several more also kidnapped, and some, I don't know if they're all even home yet. Some of them have been held for a very long time. And so I would have thought after that event that maybe the world would have kind of woke up a little bit to, the persecution that Israeli and Jewish people face. And yet instead, it seems more like anti-Semitism's kind of exploded or just gone more mainstream ever since then. And I'm even shocked sometimes within the church, you'll see, and not my personal church, but just like in the church world, you'll see certain denominations will suddenly start speaking out very harshly against Israel and condemning the Jewish people and almost even blaming them as if they brought that attack on themselves. And so I'm sure you see a lot of those things too.
Yes, that's the crazy thing is that what happened on October 7th, 2023, you would have expected the whole world to go and say, this is just not acceptable. What happened against the Jews in Israel, this terrorist attack, 1,200 people die, 245 people hostages, still 50 of them haven't returned yet, and half of them, about 20 of them are still alive. And so you would have expected the world to rally together against Hamas, against this murderous terrorist attack, and the opposite happened within a day or two after October 7th, when Israel started to respond to what happened against them. the only reporting pretty much was what Israel was doing to the poor Palestinians. It's as if everybody forgot that they were responding to an attack, which, by the way, when you measure it, is it's the equivalent of attacking the the United States, and killing 55,000 people in one day. That's, if you put it in proportion to the country. But it's also the largest killing of Jewish people in one day since the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And this was really a big deal. And the whole world, instead of coming to the rescue and saying to Israel, what can we do to help? They turned away, they turned their back, and they started going free Palestine, from the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free, and all those things on U.S. campuses and all over the world. And I tell you, anti-Semitism, I've been studying it in all my books and conferences I've done for the last 25 years. It's out of the box. It's reached a point of no return. We are now in the end times anti-Semitism that's going to get worse and worse and worse until, I believe, the next event, which is the rapture, setting up the stage for the 7-year tribulation. The time of Jacob's trouble. That is not going to be better. It's going to get worse. We still have an obligation to do whatever we can to help our Jewish friends and to show them the love of Messiah and to rescue them the best we can. But it will not get better until Jesus returns. And that's why Satan wants to push the Jews away from Jesus and get rid of the Jews, because at the end of the tribulation, Satan is going, the Jews are going to fall upon the one who they have pierced, Zechariah 12:10, and say, Baruch haba b'Shem Adonai, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, which is something that Jesus said, you will not see me again until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And that's what initiates the second coming of Christ. And see, if that doesn't happen, Satan doesn't have to go retire, and he doesn't like when he's going to go retire in a lake of fire and brimstone. So he's trying to push that further and further away. He's been defeated, but in the process of trying to push it, a lot of casualties have happened and will continue to happen. And so, again, to circle back to the definition, it's a satanic attempt at getting rid of all the Jews. And the world is buying all those lies right now. It's so sick.
Right. Satan's goal is if he could wipe out the Jewish people, then he could stop the second coming of Christ. And so
that's right.
That's why they have such a prophetic significance. And I think a lot of Christians don't understand that. They say, why do some Christians focus so much on Israel and all that stuff? And they say, well, that was just Old Testament. None of that stuff is supposed to matter anymore today. And the reason is because there's a prophetic significance, even if obviously most of the Jewish people are not saved right now, but there's a significance to them that Romans tells us that someday they will be. And so we look forward to that day, but it also lets us know that we're getting closer and closer to the end times as we see this anti-Semitism rising.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and so that's why you wrote this book, is you want to help people understand that. And again, to tell people about the book a little bit and where they can get a hold of it if they would like more information on all of this.
Yeah, so the book is it's done, it's written, but it's not going to be. The official date of release is October 7, 2025, the 2-year anniversary of the attack by Hamas. And it's a book that is going to give them a brief history of anti-Semitism, because anti-Semitism does not happen in a vacuum. There is a history. There is a progression of events over the last 2,000 years. And so I'm going to give them a foundation of all that, and then we'll look at current events. And it will take people all the way to the end of 2024, and that covers a lot of current events, including what happened on October 7th, and why I believe that October 7th really changed not just the Jewish landscape, but the whole world has changed, and the way that the world is going against the Jews now is it's out of the box. It's not going back in, and Christians have a biblical mandate to bless the Jews. In Genesis 12:3, I bless those who bless you, curse him who curses you. That's talking about those who bless Israel, and I always tell people the best way to bless Israel is to give him the gift that never stops giving. That's the gift of the gospel. So there's also an explanation in the book of the gospel from the Jewish Bible from the Old Testament. So this is a really good book to read if you want to understand the Jewish people through the eyes of historical anti-Semitism all the way to modern anti-Semitism today. And it has calls to action, what to do to make a difference, which is important.
Well, again, the book, it's called Antisemitism in the End Times. And I just imagine, if people listening today, if they say, well, a lot of this stuff, it's kind of over my head or I don't understand about all that. Once they read this book, they're going to understand a lot more when they turn on the news, when they see how people are talking about Israel and the kinds of things they're saying. It's going to open their eyes to a lot.
Yes, absolutely. It's a good way to put it. And also, they can visit our website at shalominmessiah.com, shalominmessiah.com, and by the same name, our YouTube channel, because I have a lot of teaching connected to what I do in the book, a lot of videos and interviews and teaching, and that's going to equip them to better understand. So shalominmessiah.com.
All right. Well, again, the name of the book that we've been talking about today is Antisemitism in the End Times, but he's got several other books out there from Olivier Melnick, and so we appreciate him joining us today and telling us all about this. And so, hey, sir, thank you for being with us on the Author's Corner.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure. Shalom.